And there it goes. And Phoenix Kalita, that is on you.
All right, welcome to the Wine Cellar. I'm going to say trigger warning now. We'll fit that in later. And today we are doing something a little bit different. Normally we do news and comment, but today we are hanging out with Kai Nicole, who happens to be an author. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm the author of Date Like a Woman, and I blog about dating, and that's pretty much, what I do on the social side. I graduated from Harvard, I graduated from Howard School of Law, and I have my own business that's completely separate from that. But pretty much online, I'm the author, Kai Nicole, who wrote Date Like a Woman.
Fantastic, thank you. And I was actually really, really excited that you could come on today because people who have listened to our show, we talk about, as William calls her, the Wife School Huckster. Right, that's William's term.
Right.
And some folks reached out to you about what's actually happening behind the scenes. Now, we've been speculating for quite some time that this is like some mail order bride kind of situation, that this is like some cult stuff, that this is some like serious brainwashing, indoctrination, and keeping women unsafe and vulnerable. And then some folks reached out to you, and what did you find out about Wife School?
So I'll go back a little bit.
Okay.
I've been in the blogging space about dating and relationships for almost 2 years now. Mm-hmm. And I come across Rokisha Elori Cutno, whatever, before. And I remember like, Wife School, what's Wife School? Like everyone else. Like, what is that? And I started asking her questions like, okay, what do you teach? What's the curriculum? And she blocked me. Like, it was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I was like, that's weird. Mm-hmm. That's weird. And then just a month or two ago, she popped up again in a group that I'm in on Facebook. And I was like, this chick is back. I know it's the same chick. Mm-hmm. So I was like, how about you debate me in an open forum? We'll go on a podcast or something, and we can just talk about our different perspectives.
Right.
And so she said at first she accepted. So I was like, I called my podcast people like, yo, got her, let's jump on this. Mm-hmm. And then she blocked me.
Okay.
And so I wrote the blog. I was like, something fishy. I think it's just a scam. And I wrote the first blog, Certified Wife School ? I think this is just a scam, and save your money. And mm-hmm. I did the blog, and then her followers came for me on Facebook. And so I was debating.
Right.
Her followers, and I was sitting there and I was like, these people don't act like students. There's a Facebook status like, I changed my mind on the Wife School thing. It's not a scam, it's a cult. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking she was too big hustler, but I was like, she's a cult. It's a cult. These people are brainwashed, but I didn't think it was that deep.
Right.
And last weekend, I got a message from one of her former students saying that they were, upset. They'd been taken advantage of, and, they wanted to tell people about it. And so I said, would you be open to being interviewed for my blog? And she said, yes. Mm-hmm. And so in the process of trying to figure out how to best do the interview, I said, it might be more than one person that wants to come forward. So let me throw up a page on my website with the interview questions, and then anybody mm-hmm. can just submit. And that's what I did. So people started submitting right away. And I have more interviews to post.
Wow. Okay, so there is more coming too.
There is more coming. As soon as stuff started coming in, I was like, oh my God, this woman is a serious criminal mastermind. Like, mm-hmm. she's taking thousands of dollars. Right. This is not, small. It was big. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden, once I got that up, and then I wrote the first part one, because I was like, it's too much. It's too much to do in one blog. So I was like, all right, we'll do a series. And the first few came in, they, anybody, anywhere from $400 to $2,000 to $13,000. Like, people are getting their money taken from them.
That is wild.
For poor quality. Yeah, really, really bad quality videos, really ridiculous, stupid books. It was just crazy, but they were just following her like a cult leader.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, all of a sudden the floodgates opened, the website was getting submissions, then my Facebook messages were blowing up, people were sending me screenshots, my email, my Instagram, Twitter, like people just started coming, people started coming out of every direction, like telling me about this woman. So that part 2, I put the pieces together about what she was doing, who was involved, like from the submissions, you know, the messages, how she was doing it with the PayPal friends and family, how she was able to get around things that usually businesses, if you're scamming through a business, you get caught. She was getting around those you know, checkpoints. And so then the submission for part 3 came in, and that's, you know, because there was one before that. I want to say that there was like 1 or 2 submissions before that was hinting at the trafficking.
Okay.
And I said, you know, I don't want to put that up yet because it just doesn't, it's questionable information. But when that particular one came in, my heart kind of broke. Right. Because, you know, if that's true, and I still don't know if it's true, it's an anonymous person sending it to me.
Right.
It's a serious situation.
Now,
so I weighed that information. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, now, from our perspective, because obviously we, you know, aren't getting the same like messages and whatnot that you're getting. Something that we talked about and we covered on the show was like she, you know, we actually went and watched some of her videos and, you know, read her stuff. And one of her things is she was talking about like basically running a house where women come stay there and give her all their money because a man won't want to be with you if he thinks like you have money, so it's better to look broke. So you should stay with her and work like a minimum wage job part-time because that's going to make you more appealing to men. And I was like, wait, like what in the slavery is happening here? Like, you know, and that's what I was like, is this like some like grimy mail order bride kind of situation? Like, what are we doing? And now that like I'm seeing, you know, some of the stuff that you've been able to post, I'm like, oh shit, it really was this whole time. Like I wasn't being paranoid or I wasn't like overly critical. Like, no, it actually is what it felt like it was, you know?
Yeah. It definitely is. Let me just say that I took a lot of that interview, a lot of it out.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because I wanted to get the information out to shut down whatever she has going on. But I took it. It was enough information that I called the FBI myself. So just, you know, still again, I'm not sure if it's true, but then seeing that, and then on the heels of that, I've read the blog from the Dominique woman who was stranded in Paris last year or year before last with her kids. And so something is the milk is not clean. It's obvious. Right. You know, this woman has disappeared from social media now. She was talking a lot of trash when the first 2 blogs came out. And now she's just nowhere to be found. She's real quiet.
Right.
But it's disheartening because a lot of these women that go to her were very vulnerable. They're Black women, and she kind of sells this image of rebuilding the Black family.
Right.
And a lot of the things that she says is, you know, white supremacist rhetoric. It's there's the Black family's not broken, and I wish people would stop saying that because, you know, if you're Black, you probably have a really strong family.
Right.
So this idea of the single mothers are killing the Black family it's like Black women are particularly vulnerable to these types of scams, and she's not the only one out there.
Right.
She just happened to be one that I crossed paths with a couple of times, and I was like, come on, like cut it out. So it's been an interesting week. It hasn't even been a whole week. It's gone very quickly.
Yeah, you know,
but there's more interviews to post, so I'm not done. I'm just taking a break.
Yeah, no, I cannot actually wait to see what else happens because like I really want to know. You know, and it's interesting that you pointed out like she's not the only one. It's funny because Twitter, I just argue with people. That's what I do there apparently. But I actually just have.
Do you get called angry and a man hater too?
Yes. Actually, I am a coon and I am a sellout and I cater to white supremacy because I'm not exclusively heterosexual. So I guess everyone should know that about me. If you're not exclusively heterosexual, you are actually a coon, and you are aiding and abetting white supremacy by not being hetero somehow. I don't really understand how it works, but they're authorities and they told me, so I'm just gonna put my faith there. But no, like that, actually they're having a debate in these, alleged like pro-black spaces talking about we should bring back arranged marriage to save the black family. I'm like, right. No, we should not. Yeah, and
no, I don't, it's not. Yeah, it's definitely a market for these types of businesses and quotes. There are a lot of people that like this. So black women need to submit to black men and be wives and stay at home. There's a lot of it. It's not. She's not the only one. She just seems like the only one that took it too far. Right. The other ones are, they have their books or whatever. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to debate her because I feel like we get in the same space. People can hear both perspectives, right? And they can make a decision for themselves. But it turns out there's a reason why she didn't want to go head on with somebody that disagreed with her.
Right. Yeah, she doesn't like to keep it honest, and I think that's also just I know like right now because of the political climate and social climate, like there's a lot of disingenuous people who will be like, oh, well, you have to debate me. But it's like, this isn't a debate about this isn't like, let's debate a Nazi and talk about whether or not genocide is a good idea. Right. Like this is who you are is your brand. Right. This is what you're selling. So if you aren't willing to justify your brand in the public square, I think maybe we should all kind of take like a closer look at you, because that is some cult shit. Right. Where it's like, you don't want your followers having outside information, because then you lose the power you have of your followers. So like, I'm very skeptical of people who, have a brand of selling, whatever, like whether it's relationship advice or health advice or whatever. I have to control
everything you do.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just, it's been also, I've noticed that too on her Facebook page, that a lot of people, if they disagree with her in the comments, she just blocks them, right? Or even if they ask questions because they don't necessarily understand something, or she's throwing out an idea that sounds really wild, and they're like, but how does this work? And then it's an instant blocking, and that to me has always been a huge red flag. Like regardless of
well, not only does she block people, like she has a whole process of intimidation. That's something I haven't even posted about really yet, which is coming up. How she and her minions, so they take these women, they take their driver's license, the copy of their driver's license, they take their addresses, their personal information. And when these women who are in her cult decide to ask questions or decide they don't want to be a part of it anymore, there is an effort to intimidate and make them be quiet. There is a bullying process that goes on, and I have screenshots of this where they post the people's information and personal information in groups and say, we know where you are, you're stupid. Like there's a whole intimidation tactic that cults use. Like it's all very much a cult. Like this is how they operate. If you get out of line, they try to punish you for it. And she uses shame. She tries to shame them into shutting up, which I think has happened to the woman that she spoke up when she wrote her blog about being stranded in France. But I think she got quiet because of the intimidation tactics that Ro uses to keep her minion or keep her people in line.
Yeah, and I think that it's also like to acknowledge where the victims are coming from here. It's extra hard because part of getting into a cult is cutting off your resources and like cutting off your support system. So it's like when you try to leave, you literally don't have anything or anyone. And like the only people you have is your cult, and now they're turning against you. Like I can't even imagine how like stressful that is and how much panic that causes, knowing that you don't have anywhere else to go or you don't have anyone else to go to, but the only people that you have access to are actively trying to hurt you and abuse you. Like I can't even begin to imagine how awful that is for people trying to get away.
And Ro has been responding to you. Ro has been responding to you, but like in these little Facebook posts, there's just a couple of Ro's Facebook posts going back to August 23rd here. Quote, I only discuss life with my mentors. I would never debate them. They are above me. I have no equals either, so no one to debate with. I'm only willing to interact with those below my thinking, to teach them. If they don't want to learn, I move on. August 24th, she posted, today is my last oh wait, that's about her 40-day fasting because women should be underweight. That's a thing she's pushing.
She's pushing all sorts of toxic things. It's really, really sad what she's doing. She's just preying on people.
Yes, and she also said, can you disagree in a court of law or a Harvard University class without being asked? What happens if you do this once, twice, 3 times? She continues saying, people who don't, now I think she's talking about who you interviewed with this one from August 25th. She said, people who don't credit me for what they've learned from me need to hate me to feel good about stealing my teachings as their own. I'm fine with this. I don't need credit from anyone. Act like it was your idea. Have fun away from me.
I don't think that was about me.
Wait, I think the Harvard one was like some shade at you, though, about a Harvard class, because you went to Harvard, right?
Yeah, that was the funniest part, is like, you've never been to Harvard. Because they did put that in one of their little debates. Her minions were debating me one time, and they were like, did you get to ask, like, do you ask questions in Harvard? I'm like, yeah. In fact, you ask a lot of questions before you get your degree, because that's how you learn. like that's the whole point of class. It's funny to watch somebody who has no accreditation whatsoever speak about things that she's never experienced. So she's never been to Harvard. She's never done any of the things that she's claiming to, she's putting herself on a pedestal with no actual proof that she should be there. Right. It's funny to watch. And her claims, her insecurities show through, though. She's very insecure. Anybody that takes that much time to try to make themselves better than someone else is hiding something. So it's pretty obvious, but.
And the last two from this week, these two really speak to the fact that I'm blatantly saying the fact that this is a cult. Like, this is that sort of testing the cult shit, where it's kind of like, let's see how down you really are. These are the last two from this week. She said, when all of our free daily help and advice is suddenly gone, who will care about and help you then? I can no longer teach you all. I have reached my limit. You have won. Have your miserable lives. I will be leaving soon.
See, and that is actually like really classic cult stuff, because it's meant to instill panic, to be like, oh, my only, because you cut, remember, you cut everybody else off to be here, and now the only person that you have is threatening to leave you.
Yeah, and about 430 shares, so there's a bit of panic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. She disappeared, though. She backed down, so I don't know if she disappeared because some authority picked her up, or she disappeared because she has to lay low for a while. But she was definitely trying to gather up what followers she had left and get them to other places. But, like I said, they're taking her down from the inside. And I really want to emphasize that the people who are taking her out are the people who she had in her cult. Right. I don't have anything to do with it. I just became a conduit for them to get their story out. And they have cut off her financial access, like her PayPal. They got it shut down.
Nice.
They have spies all around her. So if she does move her operation, there are people who she doesn't know. At this point, she really can't trust anyone that's around her, because the people who are surrounding her are the people who are taking her out. So I think she's really just disappeared instead of gone deeper underground, unless she has one or two that she really can trust, because like I said, when I say people were hitting me from every direction, they were like, she has this group and she has this secret group and we're in there. Don't use those screenshots. I just wanted you to see what it is. Like, it is bananas behind the scenes.
That is wild. I am glad that people are feeling confident enough to do something about it, though, because this sounds incredibly abusive. So, all right, can we just talk about your part 3, because this is like, it's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
So of course this is on datelikeawoman.com. And I actually, ironically, I found your first one. It was shared in one of the Black feminist groups that I'm in. So, you know, because we've been looking at Ro for a long time.
Somebody add me.
I can actually add you to both groups. One is more just like a general like Black women's group, and the other one is kind of like more Black feministy. But people in both groups have actually been watching Ro for a really long time, and it started off like, look at this shit. This is trash. Do you see what she's saying? Or like, look at her talking about Black people need to wash their hair every day. What's wrong with her? That's why her hair looked fried, right? And like, you know, like making jokes, and then it became, she's actually saying something really dangerous right here. This is bad, right? And then it was people just started following her to see her public post because she was always saying something wild about like, you know, you should be poor. And it's like, shouldn't we be empowering Black women to be more independent? Because poverty is horrible. Like we should be encouraging that, you know. And then it was this stuff about like, you know, a certified wife would never, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, do certified wives have the ability to say no to their husbands? Because shouldn't a marriage be based on communication? You know, like that. And so like it became watching her. And then that's how I actually first saw your website and your post, is because somebody's like, yo, somebody finally got the real tea on Ro, and, you know, shared your stuff. And so then it was, all right, now we have to, you know, see what else is going to happen and who's coming forward. And, you know, it's just been very interesting, like from this perspective, to be on the outside, you know, trying to figure out what's going on the inside, but knowing something is very wrong, but now seeing exactly how wrong it was and how much was wrong. And so now I'm looking at your part 3 of her wife school cult, and holy shit, like, I don't even, so basically somebody reached out to you and said basically they joined the cult because her parents joined and she was underage, and she was supposed to be pulled out of public school and miss her senior year of high school because she was supposed to go to wife school instead and get wifed up in her best interest. And then this person is saying that like they didn't have a choice, and that when Ro picks a husband for you, you're not allowed to say no. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, like, so like I said, that submission came in, and you know, my heart kind of dropped because it's a young woman. She's a young woman, and she provided enough information that it made me feel like this is really real. And she said some things that Ro had said that fit with what Ro was teaching. And so, you know, first I had to weigh it. I told my mom, I said, this just came in, and I read her the full submission. And my mom was just like, wow, you know, they were going to send her to France for her senior year. And I mean, like, we're like, they're waiting till they're 18. Like, she turned 18, so now we can send her to France. And I talked it over with my mom, and I said, I said, you know, I need to report this first. So the first thing I did was I called the FBI and reported it. Whether they open an investigation or not, who knows? But I definitely reported it because it seemed credible enough to give over to an authority. And then I talked to a friend of mine who works in child services, and I was like, if I post this, does it put more girls in danger if they're actually trafficking girls, or does it help shut it down? Like, it was a weighing what was the right thing to do with the information, because I've already opened up the scam, but you know, this is different. These are young women being sent abroad, and we know that women being trafficked is a big deal right now, especially with Black women. Black women are disappearing. Nobody's looking for us. Nobody cares about us. So, and I can't even. What's the right step?
And I would say I can't like begin to imagine, particularly in a case like this, because if you're already like a Black American woman, nobody really cares about you. But then you're getting sent to a foreign country. I don't even know like how you would go about getting authorities there to care about you and being able to come home and be safe. And it's like, if your parents were the ones who were complicit in trafficking you, like, what are you supposed to even do? You know?
Yeah, because there's nobody's looking for you. Nobody's calling the police. If your parents send you, no one's going to say you're missing. So I went with let's take out as much of the information that could identify her, but
Right.
let's put enough in so that people take it seriously.
Right.
So that was how I ended up posting part 3, and I did it the day it came in because I felt like it was important enough. The other submissions, like I said, I've got more. I just, I have to take a break. It's been a lot this week, but there are other things about it. Other submissions just showing, how awful it is in the inside of that cult, but that one was the one I was like, yo, we got to do something.
Yeah,
we got to.
And just so
it has to get shut down.
And just so you know, there's actually, because this is like recording live, we have a comment section open. One of the people in the comments, hey Fallon, we see you, said that they hope you're taking care of yourself because they know how stressful like it can be to be attacked on social media with minions. So just know that people are also hoping that you're taking care of yourself as well and do appreciate your work. So just please know that.
Yeah, and
oh, thank you. I am. I took a break. Don't worry.
Yeah, and Fallon is also saying, and this is Fallon Matthew of FallonKitty.com, said, I'm also bewildered by how much it grew, how much she could get her hands on. I know one of the things, because if Phoenix says we follow her, I follow her way tougher.
Yes.
Like I have her in my Facebook see first when I log in. She's one of the first things I see. I have multiple screenshots. I find it ridiculous. It's horrific and also incredibly interesting. But that fool Boyce Watkins really legitimized her. Like
of course Boyce Watkins would.
Yeah, like he was like, hell yeah, black women need wife school, and brought her on his program so she could say words about things.
Which actually, now that makes a lot of sense because there's definitely a Venn diagram where I can see Ro and Boyce Watkins fans getting together in the middle of that, because he also talks a lot about that building black wealth and the the black family unit and women. The problem with the black family is the gays and the ratchets and the hoes and the thoughts kind of thing, so I definitely see I definitely see them talking together. That is wild.
It's sad that we have these people who prey on our own communities selling us the same stuff that white supremacists said about us, for decades.
Exactly.
They're trying to it comes down to control. These people have control issues. They want to control black women and tell black women we're worthless when we're not. They want us to have low self-esteem so that we're vulnerable to these types of things. And it's sad. Like, it's sad that we have to deal with racism, deal with sexism, and then we have in our own community the people that are saying the same stuff to us. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
No. Which is another reason why I posted about. I even took the time to write about this scam, because we gotta stop these people who are harming us from the inside.
Absolutely. And I think that's like a very important point too, is like they're preaching about like this pro-blackness or like the black family unit, but it's like y'all are really homophobic. You're really obsessed with wealth building, but like in unhealthy ways, and this what they want is basically like a white supremacist 1950s household. And it's like, why are you aspiring to be like nostalgic white supremacy? Like, what are you, where is the pro-blackness in this? It's like, a woman has to wear a dress and cook and clean and submit to her husband. It's like all the amazing things that black women do, and it's like, this is what you want us to be, is just like the Leave It to Beaver mom, like a 1950s sitcom mom. That's what you want, and it's just wild.
I agree. I can't add to that. It's wild to see.
So,
but they're making money off of it.
All right. Now, we are on the Blog Talk Radio Live, and which is not our normal live, mostly Facebook Live and excuse me, and audio up, and then we upload the Blog Talk. But since we are live, there is someone with a it's a blocked number, and things are interesting, and they've called in and they put their hand up. Let's open up that microphone and see where this goes.
All right, let's see what happens.
All right,
and blocked number. Your microphone is hot.
Greetings.
Hello.
I'm the block number. And how are you all doing today?
We're good. How are you?
Great. I'm doing just fine. Firstly, I want to say this before I make my comment. I want to thank you all for exposing this travesty right here. I must admit I was sitting around today really disappointed because I'm looking for a house and nothing seems to be turning up. And as I listened to you in the beginning of your show, I said, oh my God, this can't be real. And so as you all were speaking, I began researching this person. Mm-hmm. And I want to tell you, I'm taken back. This is unbelievable. Now, having said that, I have a question for you all. This woman who is putting forth this fraud, I want to know, and if you all can answer this any way you want, I want to know, does this woman serve as a measuring stick, if you will, of the timidness, or I don't want to say weak-mindedness, or the timidness of many of our sisters in the Black community who are struggling with self-identity, who are struggling with, trying to understand where they fit into this social construct? Is she a measuring stick, that lets us know just where many of our sisters are?
I don't know. Do you want to go first, or you want to?
I'll take it. Okay. I do not believe that she's a measuring stick of how Black women, where we are in our self-esteem and our consciousness of who we are. I don't think that. I think that what we have is a person who knows how to take advantage of the vulnerable. All of her victims are women. Like the submissions that I've gotten are all women that have gone through some kind of trauma before they end up becoming a victim of her cult. So the first one was postpartum depression. I had another one whose husband cheated on her. I had another one that went through a traumatic divorce. Those things make anyone vulnerable, not just Black women. So when you have those types of trauma, it just makes you more susceptible to somebody taking advantage of you. And she's just a predator that takes advantage of vulnerable Black women. Because the truth of the matter is, all the Black women who are not vulnerable, who are like in the group that Phoenix described, they were like, look at this craziness. This is ridiculous. Now that is more of a measure of where Black women are. But the women who became victims of this cult were just vulnerable women. And I think us as women, we need to make sure we're looking out for our sisters. And if they're going through some trauma, we need to step in and say, hey, I'm here for you. Let's get you some therapy. Let's help you, but don't let them get leeched on by somebody who's going to take advantage of their vulnerability.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I just wanted to add that I wouldn't call her a measuring stick. I think this is more of a cautionary tale of when you are constantly surrounded by negative indoctrination about Black women, right? Black women are ruining the traditional family because they don't submit to men, right? Black women are the problem with the community. Black women have too much attitude. Black women, it's everything from your hair is too nappy to Black women are ugly to Black women are too loud to anything. And there's a lot of burden placed on Black women. And I think that when we don't have enough community between sisters, this is something that happens. I think that we also need to analyze the influences that we have in our communities, because as wild as what Ro is saying it's also very common in a lot of circles. What she's saying is very common in a lot of allegedly pro-Black circles. It's common in a lot of religious circles, a lot of Black Muslim and Black Christian circles. They have a lot of the same views. Rose focuses on Blackness, but you can go to a lot of Black churches or a lot of Black mosques or temples and hear the same thing about a woman needs to submit to a man. And when you have been indoctrinated to hate yourself, which is how Black women are conditioned, sometimes it takes, sometimes it doesn't, but that is the conditioning. And when you feel very vulnerable, you're kind of willing to do whatever somebody tells you will make you lovable, because this is, I think, is the thing that people don't necessarily talk about with like cults or with Ro or with anywhere people go for acceptance, is at the end of the day, what they're telling you is if you adhere to these rules, you will be loved and accepted. You will be a queen. You will be a goddess. You will be a wife. You will be a member of the community. You will have family. And people who are in a vulnerable position want that, you know? And so I think that the focus needs to be on preventing that from happening by more community building and having more support systems so that they don't have to go to something that's dangerous or something that full of self-hatred or something that abusive to Black women to find that sense of community. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, totally. I also want to, if I can say this quickly, every circle that you mentioned, Islam, the Black church, Christianity, the Black Power or pro-Black community, if you will. Each and every one of those, circles or so-called communities are pro-Black male.
Yes.
Now we understand that, right?
Yes.
We understand that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying about these women who have subscribed to this woman, Ro, I feel, now you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I just feel like there are protocols in place for white women. And had this been a situation with white women who were being indoctrinated to worship men, to change the inflection of their voices, to submit, if you will, I feel like flags would have gone off. There would have been organizations that would have intervened and would have done something. But like you all mentioned earlier, no one's checking for the Black woman. Okay, but the Black woman. So I'm saying, I didn't know, and forgive me, I had no idea who this woman was. I don't know her from a can of paint. I've never heard of her. Didn't know anything about her until listening to you all today. So I'm saying $30,000. Am I correct? $30,000 for a class on how to be a wife. Now, and she wants Black women to subscribe to this. And when we understand the infrastructure of the Black community with women who are willing to subscribe to this, I don't think $30,000 are readily available to them in their budget. You know what I'm saying? For this type of foolery.
It's actually not. And what she was doing is what they put the $30,000 price tag out there, but then of course the women say, oh, I can't afford that. So she would say, oh, you apply for our scholarship program. And then after they apply for it, they say, oh, you've been accepted into it, so it's going to cost less. And then they are telling women to take out bank loans and not pay them back. It's even deeper than that, but you're right. They weren't paying $30,000, but they were being tricked into believing that if they got a scholarship and they had to pay less, and then they should go get a loan. It's crazy. Like I said, I'll continue to write about this until these women really get what they need.
I want to thank you.
Yeah,
I want to thank all of you for stepping up to the plate and seeing about the business of taking care and being watchful over your sisters. I want to thank you for that. And I want to leave you with this, if I can. 7 or 8 years ago, when hearing you all speak, and one of the sisters said how Black women are basically demonized in this white supremacist culture. And I was struggling to say that, but those are my sentiments, right? And I often wondered why it was. Why is that? Why do they leave her out of the roles? Why do they consider her not feminine? Why do they treat her indifferently? And, from everything from her melanated skin to her thick lips, big butt, nappy hair. And I thought at first that it was because of her physical appearance or her phenotype not being conducive to the white or white-like woman's phenotype. But I will tell you, I have, in researching the Black woman historically, the authentic history of the Black woman, here's what I found. It's not how she looks. It's who she is. If the Black woman will take the time to research her authentic history, she will understand. And I know this is going to sound, a bit out there, but nearly everyone has a part in keeping her down because some kind of way, and I will say subconsciously, especially white people and other non-Black people, and even Black men, they have an innate understanding of who she is. They have the understanding, and the Black woman, her history is so powerful that the white man kills himself trying to keep up with the foundations that she laid down for humanity. And I know this sounds a bit off key, but I am telling you, when you study her, you will find out that all of mathematics, science, and everything comes from her. And I just want to leave you all with this. The true authentic age of the Black woman, how old she is, and the things that she brought to humanity can never be erased. And anthropologists, historians, archaeologists, they know this. So we understand that the first Buddha was a Black woman. We understand that the Christ situation is nothing but a spinoff or a knockoff of the true spiritual modality of the Black woman. So I'm not going to hold you all up, but I just want to, again, thank you. And I want you to know that the Black woman is demonized because of who she is. And if she gets in tune with her authentic self, it's a wrap. And this is what everybody's afraid of. And I'm not just talking. I'm telling you what I know for a fact. So thank you for your time. And you all carry on. I'm going to continue to listen.
Thank you for calling in. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah.
That sounded like the first time Phoenix Kalita spoke to me. And I was like, who is this? I need to get this person on the program because I started this podcast in 2012 and I was just doing it by myself, just ranting about the NSA and things are bad and I hate them, and joking around here and there. And in 2014, here comes Phoenix Kalita riffing, talking, getting kicked out of groups in the Facebooks. And and we're just talking on the telephone, and she's saying stuff like similar to what was just being said there. And I'm like, you want to come on the program again and again and again? And now we live together, still doing the program.
It's wild. It's wild how it happened. Yeah. No, but I think there's definitely a lot of truth to that idea, though, is that it's like Black women can be scary because of what Black women can accomplish. And there's a lot of external factors that are targeted to Black women to try to make them vulnerable. And it's, it's definitely not fair, but I do think we need more inter-community things for each other for support systems. Like a lot of Black women need more support than they're getting at this point. That's all I can really say about that is Black women are not getting the support that they need. Like whether that's, legally,
I agree,
financially,
even
emotionally.
Even with this story, if it was a bunch of white women for getting taken for thousands of dollars, I really think that the mainstream news media would have picked it up by now.
I think not only would the mainstream media have picked it up, but I also think that authorities would have picked it up. Like if this, the part 3 you were talking about where they were talking about forcing their child to drop out of high school to go to wife school and learn how to be a submissive wife and find a husband that she's not allowed to ever divorce. Yeah, that's trafficking. If that was, if they were taking white American girls to a foreign country and doing that, that would be like the UN would be involved, right? It would be like a 10-country operation to bring the girls home and so on and so forth. It's Black women, so here we are.
Yeah, white women have.
At this point, we don't know if there's been a woman sent to France or Morocco or whatever. Right. Because there's plenty of posts about France and Morocco on her page and getting husbands from foreign husbands. There's a lot of that on her page. So we don't know if there's a woman or 2 women or 15 women who are right now out of the country, not able to come back because they can't get their passports in a marriage that they didn't know it was them being sold. We don't know.
Exactly.
We don't know.
And then it's also like, unless you can personally, which we can't, but unless you could personally access, like her phone records and her bank records and her, emails or whatever, how are we supposed to find out? You know what I mean? It's like people probably went missing because of her and they're never going to be heard from again. And it's like a lot of these women, I mean, let's just be honest about it. These women that she put in these marriages are probably in abusive situations, because if they're, yeah, I know they talk about pro-black or whatever, but if the goal of the man is to find a submissive wife who lets you lead no matter what and will never talk back to you and never sass you and never question you and, never sees herself as equal to you, I can only assume you have bad intentions for your wife. Right. So probably not only are these women stuck somewhere in a foreign country that they can't get out of, they're probably being sexually coerced into things with this husband. They're probably being physically abused by this husband, mentally abused, verbally abused. I don't think that's a stretch at all.
Yeah, it's white women have to imagine a Handmaid's Tale while black women are right next to one at all times. It could always happen.
Yeah.
It is wild.
Definitely. It's crazy. It's crazy. Then, like I said, in the beginning, I just thought she was like a two-bit hustler. But, yeah. You never know.
Yep. And Phoenix Khalid is going to take a look at a couple of comments from the archive chat space on the Facebook Live, winecellarmedia.com.
Yes. So Fallon said, I'm unnerved by how many people bought into this blatantly abusive nonsense. Lewis is in the chat room, or Javi, I think is the nickname, said, I'm glad you're talking about Wife School, this type of quote unquote pro-black rhetoric around black women having to act a certain way in order to get a man. I'm reading one of, they're on your website right now, reading one of your guest blog posts, and said, you see Roe's victims are black women. Far too often when black women are being harmed, no one pays attention. Black women are particularly easy to prey on because they've been told over and over by society that they're not valuable. That resonated. Yeah.
And on the Blog Talk Radio Live, there's another person on the telephone line, 563. If you do want to comment, you can press 1, and then that'll give me a little notification on the screen, and I'll open up your microphone. But you might just be listening by telephone, and that's a fair deal.
And I see Tally in the chat room. Hey, Tally. Yeah, this is wild all around. And it's sort of, I don't know, like stomach churning, to know that there's probably really bad things happening to black women right now. But then it's also incredibly infuriating that it's like, why are we the only people talking about this?
Right.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I talked about it. My blog is about dating. I'm just going to tell you, my blog is not a gossip blog. I don't I do only celebrity stories. I do is about dating, marriage, relationships. This is something that I was like, you know what? I have to take the opportunity to use my platform because this is serious. We need to talk about it. We need to get this exposed. So that's why I talked about this for, this week. That's why I posted, 3 very serious blogs about Roe. But this is not my normal thing for me.
Right.
So I'm still going to continue until she's brought to justice to post the interviews so that people understand that this is very real. There are people coming forward. There's a lot more information. Yeah. It's just I got to take a break this week.
No, please,
but I'm
please
be
self-care. Please self-care. But no, I feel you because this is not typically what we do either. We're typically news and comment. So if you want to hear something about what's happening politically or current events or where there's an earthquake or what this legislation is, we got you covered. That's typically what we do. But we're also very black and legitimately pro-black. You know what I mean? In the sense that when something is happening to marginalized black groups, like black women, we're gonna talk about it. So here we are. I'm glad we linked up for this, but this isn't normally what we do either, but it is important. So,
it is important. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and actually, with the other stuff that you do right, is there anything that you think beyond the Wife School Huckster, like anything that you'd recommend somebody who hasn't read your work before, like, hey, check out this particular piece, like any ones that you'd want to point out?
Well, I think that if you're single, you should check out my book because it's called Date Like a Woman, and you will enjoy it. I have very good reviews. I didn't send anybody to make fake reviews for me. It really will help you in the dating world. I think that women, not just Black women, have a lot of fantasies about dating and not a realistic view of it. Mm-hmm. So my book really focuses on learning how to date, which I think a lot of women don't know how to. So that is the one thing I hope everybody, if you're single and you're struggling in the dating world and you're frustrated with the dating online and all of that, and you just can't get it together, that's my space. That's my normal space. I help women with dating. I have Ask Kai blogs. Like, if you have a dating question, come to my website, hit the Ask Kai button, send me your dating question. I will answer it for you in a blog. And I have blogs about pretty much everything from first dates, taking Ubers, to who should pay, to, just a bunch of dating advice. Mm-hmm. That's what I do normally. That's my focus. And it's a lot of fun for me.
Nice.
Is the book available via Amazon? Because Jeff Bezos doesn't have enough money.
It is on Amazon.
Good.
It is on Amazon.
Oh, all right. So that again, we're also a comedy podcast, and that's one of our snarky things we say. We're like, we got to get that on Amazon because Jeff Bezos doesn't have enough money yet.
I do say that.
Yeah, I'm usually light and funny. Like, this is some heavy stuff for my blog.
Yes.
But yeah.
All right, so
it had to be told. This story had to get out.
Yes, absolutely.
And this tends to be naturally how it goes. Once we get right around like an hour, we're like, you know what? That was a pretty darn good program there, buddy.
I think we covered it all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hop skippity fresh right there.
Nobody says hop skippity fresh. What?
They will now.
Y'all see what I got to deal with?
You married it. Maybe you should have read Kai's book first.
I have to talk about you guys on my blog.
All right. Thank you for being you and coming on this here program. And I think this was pretty fresh. This is a classic episode right here.
It's a good one. Yeah. Thank you, Kai.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you guys for even asking me to be on. I had a great time. Thank you for spreading the word about, somebody that's, harming Black women and caring enough to talk about it. I appreciate that too.
Yes, thank you. And what's the name of your website one more time?
DateLikeAWoman.com. So it's Date Like a Woman. If you Google Date Like a Woman, you'll find me.
Excellent. Thank you, Kai. Kai Nicole, awesome podcast. Thank you for coming on with us. We appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Bye. All right, that was good money. And the homie from the block number, in any last words? Your microphone's still hot.
Oh, I thought they said they were turning it off and just listening.
Oh, see, Blog Talk Radio just left them on the screen.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about, man.
Damn,
that's what I'm talking about.
Whew.
All right, well, Blog Talk, go ahead and end that. Facebook's live. And see, Tally Loco in the archive chat space just said hop skippity fresh in all caps.
Do not encourage this man, Tally.
Hashtag hop skippity fresh. Yeah, I'm waking up now. That's what you wanted.
What?
Did you want Drowsy William? I took a nap on the floor before the program.
Oh my God.
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah, I took a nap on the floor.
Whew.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Well, that's archived.
Goodbye.
All right, and Facebook's live. We're going to go ahead and get the heck darn out of there.
Yes, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Of course, we're going to continue to cover this because that's what we do.
Yep, and it's paypal.me/Phoenix and William, patreon.com/YN Solar Media Fund to get that hop skippity fresh news and comment. Well, why? You know